Well, good morning, guys. Welcome back to Papaw's place. Guys, today is September the 12th. It just stopped raining behind the latest hurricane there. Rained all night and all day. And I'm taking advantage of this soft dirt out here, getting all the weeds pulled up out of my mustards and turnip greens. And y'all can see I got a head start this year on the mustards and turnip greens, because I'm always usually later planting, and then I don't get no good turnip bottoms. So I got a little head start here. But I see one thing I'm going to have to do is to give them a little spray of something, because the bugs is starting to eat on them pretty good. And now that the rain's gone, it'd be a good time for me to give them a little spray and to get rid of these bugs. Now I hope y'all can hear me good. I'm using this little mic today because it is so windy. It just stopped raining and now the wind's blowing. The leaves is making a lot of noise. But y'all can see I haven't done any weeding out here this year, so I got a handful of these old, I don't even know what these things are called, but they'll pop up everywhere out here. And I'll go throw these in the wheelbarrow and we'll check out the rest of the garden, how it's going on right here in the middle of September. Now, since we're doing a little garden update, I might as well do a little harvesting, because I haven't harvested out here in the last, I guess, 3 days. But we got last Friday, I think it was last Thursday and Friday a week ago, we got 5 inches of rain. And I didn't look at the rain gauge to see what we got last night and today, but I'll look here in a little bit. But that's the one thing, all that rain started coming all of a sudden after being so dry. The tomatoes here busting open. But we have still been eating tomatoes all year long. And if I would have picked these 3 or 4 days ago and let them turn, they kind of what I call cat face there. You'll get about a half a good tomato out of some of these. Some of these I just throw in the old wheelbarrow, carry off out there. But we might as well get them off the vines. As y'all can see, this year I didn't keep my garden trimmed up as much as I normally do. But hey, they still make vegetables. See, a lot of tomatoes fell on the ground from the winds last night. But who knows, I may get back out here and trim some of this old dead stuff. But y'all see it's putting new life back here up on top. It'll make some more tomatoes. It'll be green tomatoes on these tomatoes when the first frost comes. Now I have gone plumb blank right now the name of these yellow tomatoes right here, but I'll put it in the screen for y'all. Y'all can see some of the eggplants here is past due on harvest, be thrown away. And them ain't right there yet. They ain't ready for the picking. So we got several eggplants will be coming on. We got a few white stars hanging down there. About broke the limb off of there. There's about 4 on there, the white star eggplants, which taste just like any other eggplant. Still got peppers, they just small to the size. Them all need to be harvested off. But man, I can't get over how fast the mustards and turnip greens is growing. So I'm gonna just give y'all an update, then I'll come back and harvest, because all these jalapenos here, some of them been left on so long they done turned red, which you can still use them. But the jalapenos doing good in the basket there. And these cayenne reds, they just keep putting on, and look at them, guys, they're just loaded with blooms. There's times I come out here and I just pull them off and throw them straight in the wheelbarrow to carry to the scrap pile out there by the ditch. I got these two plants and one more over there, and it's just no way we got that much use for cayenne peppers. A couple times, a couple of my friends come through and they got them some to make them some jars of pepper sauce. But they peppers really doing great in the tubs, and I think next year I may just do all of my peppers just in these wick tubs and leave my garden spot over there open for something else. Now these garlic chives here, they done got so thick over in that one spot I had to bust them loose. So I started me another pot right here a few weeks ago. And these little bunching onions right here, I started from seed. I can't remember exactly when I started them. It's probably been about 4 or 5 weeks ago now. It's been a while since I've done a garden video, but they took hope and coming on good. But right there in that half a bed, I planted Texas Grand sweet onions. I had seeds left over, and I guess the seeds that went bad never got the first one to germinate. So maybe I can get some onion slips, because I want some Vidalia sweet onions or them Texas Granos and get planted in there so I can overwinter them. This is the little barbecue grill that had a zinnia in it. Well, when it got so hot, I come by and just pulled the zinnia out, took some of the heads off that was dried up, and just scattered them around. Look how many zinnias has come up right there. You could take these out now and plant them wherever you wanted them. But I'm going to show y'all up there at my zinnia bed. I done the same thing, just cut them down. And look at the zinnias that we're going to look at in a moment. That's coming up there. I mean, it's about hundreds of them. Anybody in the neighborhood wanted zinnias right now, they can come get them some good little plants about that tall, since the soil's wet. And that's what I like about zinnias. Once you plant one and get you a bed going, you ain't got to buy seeds no more. Well, guys, I was out there with my little GoPro and my little microphone doing y'all little garden video, and I realized my microphone done went dead on me. So while it's charging, I thought I'd start supper for tonight. Now what we got here is a beautiful smoked deer ham that I smoked yesterday right here on this pit boss. And that's what we had last night for supper. It was just me and Sharon, so you just see a chunk going out of it. But tonight we're gonna take some of this right here. And that's how you cook venison. You want it rare to rare. You don't want to overcook venison. And even though it's been in the refrigerator cold, it's good. But we're gonna cut some of this here off. And I'm gonna make another dish for supper here. A very simple dish. So I figured I'd get it started right now. And that ought to be enough meat for me and Sharon right there. And we'll wrap this back up. You see, you can slice that thin, put you some barbecue sauce on it, and have barbecue sandwiches or whatever. Now I need to get another piece of tin foil, make sure that's covered, but let's move on with what we do. So I'm gonna just cut these up in some little cubes. like so. And like I said, this is going to be an easy supper right here. Making something else out of leftovers. I may not mind wasting some of them deer shoulders when I cook them like that, but when I save a little tender ham, you can bet in the next couple of days, tomorrow it'll be some kind of something else made out of that. So right here in my pot, I got 8 cups of boiling water already going. Well, actually I got 4, I'm gonna get 4 more. This is why I like my Instant Pot outside. I can always boil me water real quick. So now I got approximately 8 cups of water. Before I go in with that meat, and another thing I forgot, I was gonna go get an onion. Simple, quick meals, guys. This here is Bear Creek vegetable beef soup mix. Of course, everything in there is dehydrated. You can take a pack of that right there. Or my spoon. Eddie, you forgot a spoon. Everybody thinks that's a refrigerator over there, guys. That refrigerator wasn't repairable, and it makes a good outside cabinet for your cooking utensils. But I'm gonna stir that up there just a little bit, and then I'm going in with that meat. I see enough dehydrated onions in that. I don't think I'm gonna go in with an onion, but I did have a tater left over out here yesterday. I brought an extra one out, so we might as well just cube up this tater. And these are these gold potatoes, so I like leaving the skins on them. And I've eaten this a lot, this brand, making quick meals, and it's pretty seasoned straight out of the bag there. So all we're gonna do is set this right over there, get it plugged up, and let it simmer till supper time. I'm gonna bring it back up to a boil, and then I'm gonna turn it down to where it just basically keeps it at a simmer. Now, according to this pack, it says 15 minutes. But I like doing it lower and slower and a little bit longer than that. Probably about a good 30 minutes, and then I take that off, take it in the house, and it'll be in there for supper. So now let's see if we got our batteries charged so we can go back and finish our video. Alright guys, I'm still having issues, technical issues. I went back and watched the video to see where my mic went off, and it basically went off right where y'all seen me started cooking here. So I got to go back out there and redo the whole video, but my mics is still charging. So I did go back to the garden, and I got me one of these Savannah sweet peppers we're going to chop up, and we're going to add a little freshness flavor to our venison stew here. And I'm going to chop these up. And while I was in the house, I seen a pot that my wife had some crowder peas in. Apparently she thawed them out, gonna do something with them, and then didn't get home in time to do nothing. So I took a cup full of them and already poured in here, and that's crowder peas that we raised ourselves in the garden. So we're gonna add a little fresh taste to that packaged soup. But it's always good to have them kind of packs on hand for them quick, easy meals that you can make Now also I'm going to take one of these fresh bay leaves here. I'm going to just kind of minced it in a little because I just want the flavor to get into this soup just off of one leaf. And this here is a tomato based soup, so what I'm going to do, I got a couple tomatoes and you see they busted open. That's what you get from these rains, plus that's what you get from not harvesting your garden about 2 days ago when it needed it. But I'm actually going to skin this tomato, and then I'm going to dice that up. Don't matter which way it's diced up, I'm going to dice it up smaller. I'm going to dice it up small so I can get some of this fresh tomatoes in our soup. So you can take them packages and them cans and have you a start for something, and then put in what you got on hand. And yeah, I could leave them peelings on a tomato, but the main reason I'm peeling these, I'm wanting to look at them to make sure the tomato looks good down in there since they look so bad. And y'all will see here in a moment. We're going to go finish our video, but I wanted to show y'all what else I was adding in here so it'd be simmering them flavors together. And all we got to do is fix us some cornbread, and we're going to have us a nice venison stew soup, whatever you want to call it. This here's got rice in it, it's got noodles in it, got green peas in it, now I got fresh crowder peas in it, venison, fresh taters, fresh Savannah sweet pepper. I see it has some dehydrated onion pieces in it already. We're gonna let that simmer a little bit, and then I'll give it a taste test. So let's go to the garden now. Y'all see I put a different hat on. Maybe it was the hat. I got to change my look. Okay guys, we back at it again. So what I was saying about the zinnias, we just start up here at my zinnia bed. Y'all see them there, all that was totally cut down. I had fabric in there and I pulled it out and I scattered them seeds. Well, you see what's coming on, and we already getting pretty flowers. And just look around the ground. There's hundreds and hundreds of zinnias where the seeds went out here in the yard. So once you start a zinnia bed, you don't never have to buy no zinnia seeds. Just pull them heads off and scatter them on the ground. And if them make some heads that dries before the frost, I can put them in a bucket and save them for next spring. And sometimes I scatter some around in the bed and they come up on their own next year anyway. Same thing with all these pots. You see now they growing on the ground. Now our basil is up here at the house. Y'all see how beautiful it come back? When it got hot in that 100-degree weather, I just cut that mess off about 3 inches tall. And it just comes back and actually makes better looking basil than it did in the spring. There's one come up over on its own this fall. I'm calling it fall. I don't know if we consider it fall yet or not. It's still hot. And this one the same way. But over here around this old tree stump, we had zinnias planted. And guys, look at them. I mean, they just everywhere. Now I need to be pulling up grass and these old sticker weeds, whatever this is. I told y'all I don't know the proper name of that. So if y'all know what that proper name of that sticker weed is, it grows in pastures and fields in northeast Louisiana, tell me what the proper name of that. I just always call them old sticker weeds, so they'll get stickers on them when they get a little bigger. So let's get back to the garden. We might as well start right here with the Freedom Art blackberry bush. And guys, after it made its main crop, you can see where I come back and cut a lot of these ends off. Even these ends right here was cut off back here. Well, then throughout the rest of the year, it'll keep making what I call enough for garden snacks. Y'all can see some right here. Now, a while ago, I ate a couple of these when I didn't know I wasn't talking to y'all, but these are sweeter now than they were when they made the main crops. So if you grow these Freedom Arts, they call primo canes, and they thornless. You see, we didn't pick them and they done dried up. Y'all finna see a lot of stuff we ain't harvested. Now I need to come back in here and just cut this end off here, back there about a foot. And if we don't get too early of a frost, it'll start making a new head and just make new berries again. There's one I'd cut off. These had been cut off, and they may have time to make a few berries for what I call garden snacks. Now, I tried to get an early start on me a bed of lettuce this year. This is just filled up with a mixture of leaf lettuce, because that's how I like planting mine, where I can just trim it off and it keeps growing back until we get a hard freeze enough to kill it. But I wanted to get a head start this year, and so I planted a little earlier, and you see it's doing great. Again, that's just a mixed variety of different types of leaf lettuce. There's some bunching onions I started from seed probably about 6 weeks ago. Can't remember if Eden was coming up there in the last video. It's been a long time. I know I done a video of making this little bed and planting these bulb onions. But look how much they done pumped out of the ground growing. Now, I don't know what varieties that are. They just little onion bulbs that I got from the corner market. The garlic chives there, I done pulled a chunk out of it, and y'all see it in another pot after a while, but that needs to be busted up. I've told several people if they want some garlic chives, that needs to be busted up. You could bust it up and just get little chunks like that out and start you a pot or a bed of it. This Black Beauty eggplant has fed us all year. That in there needs to be harvested. I'm finna come back when I get done with this video and harvest the garden, because we got so much out here that's overripe, just gonna have to be thrown away. But that one's ripe. There's several more on there and still got blooms. Now these blooms are wet and hanging because it ain't been long ago it quit raining. Speaking of that, let me see what we got. So old Francine didn't give us much water up here in northeast Louisiana, but that's good because farmers are still trying to get harvest. We got exactly 1 inch of rain last night and this morning. It was just old slow like a winter drizzly rain. The purple boy tomatoes that I grew from the spring, y'all see why I leave these and let them come back down? Look at them new tomatoes they sitting. Now these tomatoes that's on here, it still got some good ones, because I'll pull them about like that. If I don't, they'll crack open. Now there's some over here that should have been harvested a few days ago. See, it's all cat-faced and cracking from this rains. Because last Thursday, a week ago, I think it was Thursday and Friday, we got 5 inches of rain. And once it started doing that, my tomatoes started busting open, especially when I ain't on top of harvesting my garden like I should be now. But these are good tasting tomatoes. They just don't get very big in size. Next year I'm going to try the Cherokee Carbon. This here is called the Purple Boy. It's supposed to taste a lot like the Cherokee, and it does. I done a taste test side by side. I can't remember if I put that in a video or not, but I done a taste test side by side, and they daggone close to the Cherokee a friend of mine had raised. They just small tomatoes. So I'm hoping the Cherokee Carbons makes bigger tomatoes, because they're easier to grow than just the Cherokee, because they hybrids. But you see they just steady putting on new growth, new blooms, new tomatoes everywhere. So I have tomatoes. I've been eating tomatoes all year long, and we continue to eat a tomato all year until the freeze comes and kills them. And there'll be a bunch of green tomatoes that when it kills them, just get thrown away. Now that was my second run trying just for some late watermelons. Actually, I need to pull one of them. Matter of fact, we'll do a little garden test right now. They didn't get much size to them, but we're going to see how they turned out. These are little sugar babies. Should get about the size of a basketball. And see, even though the vines is all dying back, that watermelon, let me taste of it. Ain't that great? About like a store-bought watermelon. But it looks a little on the green side. Even though the vines has done died back. But anyway, I'll feed this to the ducks after a while. That was just one of them things I decided I'd plant another watermelon. See if I could get a fall watermelon. But I don't think I watered them enough. Now all this down through here is late squash. There's two little ones right there. And here's one right here. No, it ain't too big. Here's actually two right here. But we've been eating squash all year long. I've just been stagger planting them, and I got some more coming on over there that's already making squash. I see one over there that's too big already. Then all that other right there is that late pumpkins. We planted Coach's pumpkins too early this year. And the pumpkins we grew over in that tire, well, of course, when they was ready, it was in the middle of the summer, so they didn't last that long. So I said, well, I'll plant him some more. And I'll show y'all, we got pumpkins coming, but they ain't gonna be here for Halloween. There's a little one right there by that watermelon. And there's a bigger one right over here. Right there. Like I said, they ain't gonna be ripe. They made a whole bunch of blooms, but you can see they closed up on this cloudy day. But I guess they didn't get pollinated. There's a little pumpkin hanging on the fence. So we did get some pumpkins, but they ain't gonna be Halloween pumpkins. Now down here was a late zucchini I planted. You see it's got blooms right there, but guys, we have yet to get the first zucchini off of that. It ain't give us the first zucchini. I don't know what was the deal with that, because my spring zucchinis gave us more than we wanted. I just had 4 plants. And then I planted this one about time them was petering out, and we never got nothing off of it. The Hyphenator cucumbers here, which that done fell off and died since I've been out here paying attention. We got some right here to harvest. But we've been eating cucumbers all year, but I will tell you, when they got that high heat, these got to where you basically had to cut one and sample it. Because they done got bitter. Now here's one right here, here's 2 right here they too big, they gonna be bitter. They done got too big for the temperatures we've been having. But like I said, I ain't been taking care of harvesting garden this last week. And I got to get out here and just get everything took off. I got to spray this old leaf-footed bug right there. But we still got little cucumbers making. And we'll have cucumbers right up. I just hoping now that the nights is getting down there in the upper 60s that they'll get back to where they ain't bitter. But next year when I do my late cucumbers, I go back to them old faithful, the summer dance, because these Hyphenators done great for spring, but they just got bitter during the heat here. But that's why I done them, testing them. Speaking of Hyphenators, look at all these good tomatoes I let out just run. If I'd have picked that about 4 days ago when it was just like this right here, let it finish turning up on the table, that would have been a beautiful tomato. But now all these is cracking open. Look at all them over there. That's what I said, I've been slacking, I ain't been doing nothing. Now that vine over there is done dead. I don't know what happened to it, but that whole tomato plant there has died in the last 4 or 5 days for the last time I was out here harvesting garden. But this one's still putting on green. Baby tomatoes coming, new blooms. So it'll still make tomatoes enough just to have fresh tomatoes to eat. And I need to take these vines and train them up to trellis. I just ain't been doing everything I should do, guys. Here's a good little tomato here. Now these here's busted open. I just pull all these off in the wheelbarrow. There's a couple up there that got a little crack, but it's still that don't be eatable. Got some pretty good sized green ones will be coming on here if I watch them. But we're putting on that new growth again. It put on growth, and then we went to that 100-degree weather, and it started dying down, wasn't doing much growth. Just the tomatoes that was on it, which was giving us plenty of tomatoes to eat. But I ain't been doing what I need to do. It ain't but one of me, and I need about 4 of me this year. Cayenne reds. Look at them. They're loaded down with green peppers right now. Still got several reds on here. But that, my Lord, that is loaded. I don't know how much y'all can tell, but they are just loaded down. And I didn't do a good job of tying these up. I got to do something a little different next year. I think I'm going to do all my peppers in the wick tub next year. Same thing with these jalapenos. There's several jalapenos right there. And my wife harvests these. I don't know if y'all can see the limbs is hanging down. They got jalapenos hanging on them. Plus that wind last night didn't help. Bell peppers broke over. Well, it ain't broke, but it's hanging over low. But look at the peppers, guys. Actually, I just broke that limb. Well, I guess even though they're small, I cut them up because I just broke the limb. I need to tie all that mess up. More bell peppers. See, they done hung here and broke the limbs and dying. The limbs is dying. Okra needs cut. Oh boy. Savannah sweet peppers. Look how loaded they are. Yeah, I'm probably going to do these in pots next year and utilize my cages for my peppers. Now guys, the okra, I know it looks horrible to your sight, but I guarantee you, you could take this, and it's probably today, because these ain't too big. You got a couple. This one here might be too big. No, it's still soft. That's on the verge of being too big. But I cut some of them off like this one because the limbs down bottom has started making okra. I said cucumbers, I'm sorry, okra. But you see it's coming out from the bottom now. So all you got to do is in the summer when your plants start getting too tall, you just take loppers and whack them off. They'll start from the bottom up again. Like I said, they don't look good, but they're getting back green from the bottom. That there, this one here, and no, I think that's the one I told her to leave. I'm going to save it for seed, because I had one I saved earlier, but there's another we might well leave for seed. It's too big. There's one too big. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 okra right down there on that bottom right now. This one here maybe, no, it might make it. I don't know if that'd be too hard or not, but I usually like getting my okra when they're short about that long, which I should have been out here 2 days ago. Now here I go again. Earlier I couldn't remember the name of the Bendito tomatoes over there when I was making a video, and I remembered it when I went up there checking the video out. Now I can't remember what variety these was, but these has made some good tasting tomatoes and made pretty little tomatoes. I mean, all these would have been nice tomatoes if I'd have just been out here to get them. Now there's what we've been getting when I've been getting them on time. And we was getting tomatoes like that right up there in that 100 degrees. And you can see all the diseases took over, but they're still growing, still making new tomatoes, and we've eaten tomatoes like that all year. Now these wasn't planted in the spring, these was planted in the summer for what I call my fall tomatoes going into the fall. Because these people that's around here that's just planted their tomato plants out like the first week of August, only way they gonna get a tomato to mount to anything is if one, we don't get those October freeze like we did last year, and two, even that November first frost better be very light. You just ain't got enough time in that high heat of the weather to start little plants and get you any tomatoes. And I found out years ago, it's just better to use your indeterminates and keep you a couple of them going, and then maybe do like I done this year, plant you a couple more real late. I don't know when I planted these, maybe 1st of July, end of June. I know I showed a video on them, but we have, guys, just unique vegetables. You just got to figure out how to plant and stagger it and grow. And plus you need shade. That's another good thing, helps my little garden in that high heat. I got these trees on the west side, so it gets a lot of afternoon shade. Now if y'all remember one of my garden videos back there 6-8 weeks ago, I said I was starting my seeds in my beds. I didn't want to start them indoors. So this here is Asperbrock broccoli, and look how good it's doing. Now of course the cauliflower, it just ain't, there's a couple of bigger ones right there on that side, and then there's smaller ones coming up over where I had to plant 2 or 3 times to get the cauliflower started. But my theory was, why do you want to start something if you ain't going to start it indoors in your house where your climate controls kept around whatever, 70, 75, whatever you keep the inside of your house? Why start it in a greenhouse? It's only hotter. I don't care if you got a greenhouse, the sides roll up, the doors open and all that. Why not just start them in your bed? To me, it ain't no difference. Now you're going to see on my cabbage over here, I done the same thing, but I did come back, pull some of them out, and plant them in another bed and thin them out to where I just let the Asperbrock here just go. And it ain't going to be very long. We finished, got some heads starting to come up here. So that's worked out great. Same thing with the Catarina cabbage here. I still got a bed full after I thinned them out, and then I also, when they was about that tall, spaced them out in there under the shade of this tomato here. Now this here is the Honey Delight tomato, but they still bust in the rain. You need to pick them when they like that right there. Let them sit on the table about 2 days. That right there ready to eat. Same as the other ones. Steady got blooms, steady making little tomatoes. And guys, there's been times me and Sharon come out here, it's just so many tomatoes getting ripe, we don't want nothing to do with them. We just pull the wheelbarrow over here and put everything in the wheelbarrow and take it out there and dump it. If you don't, you got to be out here every day, and we just ain't had time. This is up under that summer sunset tomato. Of course, guys, just hundreds of tomatoes. But anyway, that's the red Russian kale down there. It's still beat down from the rain and the wind. Maybe it'll get stood back up. But yeah, I got to do some spraying. The bugs is eating on everything. This bed is rainbow chard. This was started right here in this bed by seeds. Bugs is eating on it good. We ain't eat none of this because it's been hot. But when it starts cooling off, we got a good head start. Plus, I'm finna get out here and pinch a lot of this off and feed it to the chickens. And then I'm gonna spray it for the bugs. And I'm gonna spray it with something stout because I wanted to kill out the bugs out in my turnip greens like I was saying earlier. Get the bugs killed off because we got time to put on new leaves. That way when we start getting into them cool nights when we're ready for greens, you ain't got to worry about the insecticide you spray. I ain't much on spraying insecticide and then wanting to eat off of it that week. Really don't like using it at all. But over here is where I transplanted some of that Catarina cabbage that was overflowing that bed that I started, and I just moved them over here. See how they are doing these tubs. There I was starting me some head lettuce, but I don't know if it's going to overcome the rain. It got flooded. Actually, last week it got flooded because I forgot to get them and cover them up. That's the only thing about starting something outdoors. You got to remember to get it when it's going to be them big rains. Some of that may overcome it, but this right here is pak choy. Started right there from seed. And this here's some early Jersey cabbage. Started from seed. Muscadines, guys. The muscadines have still got muscadines on them. And if I kept up with it right, I had 2 different people come and picking them as they wanted them. They would come about every 3 days. And I want to say they up to about 35 gallons they got off of them this year. And these over here on this road, these two's the cowarts, and on that end's the nobles. They always later than the Southlands and the Ice and Plus over there, but you can see there's still lots of muscadines. But they falling off too. Faster than they getting ripe, they're falling off because we went from drying, me trying to just water them, to then get 5 inches of rain. A week later, 1 inch with it all night and half the day today. But it's been a lot of rain. Another change I made out here in my garden, guys. These 2 tires stacked on top of each other had peppermint in one, and then back there where that cage is sitting had spearmint in one. Well, we decided we didn't need that much. We're just going to do us just a small pot of mint. We want to use it to cook with. But Sharon loves elderberries, and this was in one of them wick pots, and it done getting root bound. So I planted this, and I done this right in the middle of the 100-degree temperature. But the thing was, it was in that wick tub, so all I had to do is took a grinder cutter wheel and cut the tub, peeled it off of it, so I didn't have to disturb the roots, set it over in these 2 tires, and then fill back in with it with fresh soil and compost. And it never stopped a beat. Matter of fact, it looks better now that it's not root bound. There ain't no bottom under these tires, so now it can send roots down and keep growing. We had 2 of these. The other one I planted on the far end of the property where I planted my peach trees and plum trees, which I ended up losing 1 of my plums this summer out of 3. But that spot where I'd lost that 1 plum, that's where I took that other elderberry and planted it up there with them. And them elderberries I bought 4 years ago, just little stems, and it started them. I had planted them out back where my fig trees is planted now. Well, I almost let them die by not watering them that summer, so I put them in them pots, and they've been in them pots growing, so it was time I had to do something with them. I said it wasn't nothing in these beds out here but my prism kale. I started them back in the summer because I wanted my prism kale to have a head start. That's one thing we do love, mixing our greens, turnip greens and mustard greens. So I wanted a head start, so it ain't already be going good. And I said, well, if I can get them through that high heat, I'm gonna have a head start. Well, I done pretty good. I think well, that one's there's putting back out, but I got 1 in there I may have lost. So that's 2, 4, 6, 7. There's 7 in there, and I may have lost 1. So that turned out pretty well for me this year. Now, of course, I need to get in here, and I need a whole day out here in the garden. Start weeding. This kind of stuff is why I got the rest of them covered with plastic, because if you didn't, that would be a takeover. So I'm trying to use the plastic to kill out the weed seeds. So at least some of my beds won't be hard to deal with next year. Some of these are still have weeds growing up in them. Alright guys, so that is my garden update. My garden has been doing great, producing more than we wanted. As far as me, I've been slacking. I don't like seeing these peppers hanging over like this, but instead at the end of the year, I ain't wasting time tying them up, because even if half of these limbs break off tonight, there's still going to be more peppers than we want. We done put peppers in the freezer. Give away peppers. And that's why you just see us slacking and just come out here like I'm finna do this thing with the wagon or the wheelbarrow and harvest everything and keep a few of what looks the best and take the rest out there to the ditch and dump it. But as always, hope y'all enjoyed this video. Give y'all an update of the garden. And my advice about gardening is, don't believe all that stuff you read or everybody says. Just try different stuff yourself and see what works for you. But that's one thing that I'm always doing, is trying different stuff. And I'll tell you when it didn't work and when it did work. Just like them onion seeds I planted over there. They didn't work. But I'm thinking, since the bunching onions come up so good, them seeds is probably no good, because them was about 2-year-old seeds. But if you don't try, you don't know. See y'all next time. Appreciate y'all. Okay guys, she done come in hungry again. Let's see what she thinks about this concoction.
I'm starving.
Oh, I got it made if she's starving, because it don't have to be that good.
That is good. A deer is good.
So guys, you can take your leftovers and turn it into something else. And all them expensive groceries, just keep making something until it's used up.
That's right. That's good.
I thought it was pretty good too. That's that brand soup mix that I was buying when I was all working. I used to like making leftovers like that.
Right.
Very handy.
Well, it's very good. You got to make it again.